welcome to the November professional development offered by the Center for Music Education at Georgia College. I'm Dr. Tina Holmes-Davis, and I will be presenting today on how we can use our philosophy of music education to protect our mental and physical health. So let me see. Nope, that was right. All right, so let's see. So the first question that we need to answer when we're talking about using our philosophy of music education to protect our mental and physical health is who should teach music. And we have answers from established philosophers who have worked in this field. So let's start with them. All right. So Bennett Reamer is largely considered the father of music education philosophy in the United States. And Bennett Reamer, in his 2022 text, said that music educators need to first be proficient musicians and second have a music education philosophy or a set of guiding beliefs. All right, now Bennett Reamer's student and later competitor David Elliott also has an answer. In his 1995 text, he says educators must have situated knowledge. That is musical knowledge in action. So David Elliott would posit that in order to teach jazz, you should be able to jazz yourself. In order to teach orchestra, you should be able to orchestrate yourself. So that's what situated knowledge means. And then the ability to think in action to meet learner needs and subject matter, community needs, professional standards, and other pedagogical related issues. So I think that that means that our two primary here music education philosophers, American music education philosophers. Hi, Solange. All right, so our two music education philosophers say that we should have, in order to teach music education, we should have musicianship and pedagogical knowledge. That is, we should be musicians ourselves and we should understand how to teach music to our students. So let's look at each one of those. So in musicianship, this means that you should be a musician yourself. So I would not go as far as David Elliott and say that you can't teach jazz band if you can't play in a jazz band. But we do need to be musicians of some sort. And you see this a lot where we will continue our musicianship as best we can as music teachers who are already overscheduled and overwhelmed. We'll be playing in church orchestras and community orchestras, community bands, and we just keep our musicianship up the best we can. Now, there are many ways to do this, and you don't have to be, guys, you don't have to be the first chair player, you don't have to be the soloist. You don't have to play in your local, Atlanta Symphony Orchestra. This is just you keeping up your musicianship and your skills and getting out and making music and kind of feeding your soul with other musicians. And that is important, according to both Reamer and Elliott, that we continue, we maintain our musicianship and we maintain our status as musicians. So we will leave that alone. Right now, just think about what you can do. And Solange, we might ask you, what do you do to keep your musicianship up? Do you play with any local groups? How do you maintain your status as a musician?
Oh, I maintain the status as redirection as well as consistency, then productivity.
Mm-hmm. Do you play in any local groups? Do you play at a church or in a civic ensemble? Or do you maintain your skills? I know you're a pianist. Do you play anywhere?
Not anywhere.
All right. Well, then let's move on to our pedagogical knowledge, because in addition to being musicians, both Reamer and Elliott said we need to be able to teach. So this is, somewhat easier because our schools do this. We have professional development like this one, and we have professional development at school that is largely, kind of geared toward math, science, social studies, PBIS, RTI, whatever it is that we're doing. But basically, we need to know about learner development, learner differences, and we need to be able to reach our students, through differentiated instruction and whatever it is that we're doing, so that we can actually teach music to our students. Please remember, and I'm a humanist teacher, so you may disagree with me, but from my perspective as a humanist teacher, we don't teach music, we teach students. We teach students to music. So the object of our teaching are the students, and the music is what we teach. So in my humanist viewpoint, our students are not tools that we use to win contests, to give good performances. Our students are collaborators, and we make music together. All right, now the hidden element in here, and this is what we're really talking about when we talk about protecting mental and physical health, is as we're protecting our musicianship and as we're developing our pedagogical knowledge, we have to remember that we are human beings. And guys, there's so much to do, and we can only do so much of it. All right, so as a human being, you cannot be the soloist in every community and church orchestra ensemble. You cannot be the lead teacher for everything that goes on in your school and in your system, as well as maintain your humanity. And we're talking here about mental and physical well-being. So what we need to do, sorry, my dog has decided that sitting behind me in the chair is the best place to be. So if you hear her grumble, that's why. So anyway, so what we have to do is start out by remembering that you're a human being and that you can only do what you can do. And, start by choosing what's the most important thing. So, you might play last chair in a community orchestra or a community band, or you might just be a part singer in a community choir. And that allows you to participate in music with others around you. It allows you to sing or play as a musician yourself. And it kind of takes some of the pressure off because you just have to learn your part. Now, some people might want to be the soloist, and this is where you get to choose. If you want to be the soloist, that's going to take an extra level of rehearsal and practice as a musician, and so that's going to take more of your time. And if you want to be the lead teacher, if you want to be, I have a student in the field right now who is basically an administrator for, he teaches choir, but he's an administrator for his school, and that takes extra time. That takes time away from his classroom. And so as a human being, you have to decide how much time and energy you have to devote to these things. Now, you have to devote some level of time and energy because these are the two things that are kind of required for teachers philosophically. According to Reamer and Eliot, we have to be musicians and we have to be teachers. But, you can't do all of the things all of the time because it will wear you out and you'll break down. So start by choosing your level of musicianship. And guys, there have been times, my husband and I used to play in Terrawinds. And when I was pregnant with the twins, I couldn't. So I had to stop playing with Terrawinds actually while I was pregnant. And then, once the twins were born, I had to stay home with the twins and Jay was able to go play. But I just didn't have the energy and, somebody had to stay with the children. So you have to, during certain times in your life, you may not be able to be the musician and the leader at school that you want to be all the time because you only have so much of you. So this is not a one time you make this decision and this decision is forever. Sometimes you might be like in a community group and there might be a great solo or a great piece or something and you decide that it's worth your time to be the soloist here and you devote extra time here. That is not always that time, and that's okay too. But you have to decide as a human being how much time and energy and resources you have to do these things. Now, you have to give at least X amount to be a successful musician and a successful teacher. But beyond that, it's up to you. All right, and then the next thing is in order to maintain our health and our mental and physical health, we have to do, guys, we have to drink some water. I'm a coffee person myself. but you have to drink at least as much water as you drink coffee because your body needs water to survive. So carry your water bottle and your coffee cup, or, my husband's a Mountain Dew guy, carry your water bottle and your Mountain Dew, or however you do it, but drink enough water. There are four things. Water's the first one. The second one is eat a vegetable. Bonus points for broccoli because broccoli is a super vegetable. Eat a vegetable with every meal if you can. Spinach is a great breakfast vegetable. Yeah, if you can't eat a vegetable with every meal, at least make sure you're eating a vegetable every day because vegetables are important roughage. They're going to help your motility, but they also have lots of vitamins and minerals. And taking vitamins and minerals is one thing to do, but you're going to get a lot of that with your diet if you'll just eat a vegetable with every meal or at least once a day. And guys, don't make this harder than it needs to be. One of my favorite things to do when I'm super busy is go through Panda Express and get a bowl with vegetables and whatever kind of orange chicken or whatever it is I'm having. And so you get your vegetables, sorry, you get your vegetables without having to be crazy involved with this. So do what you can. Again, you're a human being and you can only do so much. So while you're being a musician and while you're being a teacher, you have to remember to, figure out ways to do these things. I think my husband tends to go get the ready to eat meals like at Kroger or whatever that you can heat up, and you can get vegetables that way. Sorry, Jay's calling, and he will continue to call until I respond to him. So, response made. All right, so water is number one. Drink some water every day, at least as much water as you drink not water. And eat a vegetable with every meal if you can. My favorite morning vegetable, like I said, is spinach. I like to make scrambled eggs and put some spinach in there. And that's a good way to get breakfast vegetable. And then, like I said, there are some, places where you can go through the drive-through and get a vegetable. And you don't have to, go home and chop and cook and do all the things. All right, so number 3 here is physical activity. Do something physical every day. You don't have to go to the gym every day, but take a walk, do some yoga. If you have an elliptical or a bike in the corner that's collecting dust, get on it for 10 minutes. This does not have to be crazy. I don't care what your beach body is. Nobody needs a beach body as a music teacher. What we need is not to have a heart attack. So, do some kind of physical activity every day. Outside, my neighbors across the street have a basketball goal in the street. And so every day the teenagers in my neighborhood will get together and play pickup basketball for half an hour, 45 minutes, sometimes for hours. So just find what you can do. Solange, what do you do for physical activity?
I like to go walking outdoors.
Me
Power
too.
walking, a little bit of jogging.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I
And
don't
the
jog anymore, but yeah,
other
walking is nice.
months, I go to Kobe Fitness and Wellness.
Uh-huh.
On the other days, I swim and then do like other activities, like going on a treadmill,
Uh-huh.
lifting little weight machines,
Uh-huh.
you name it.
Good. Yeah, so you do different things as you feel like doing it, right?
Yes, and I also use the Calm app to
Yes, that's the next
the
one.
physical activity.
Uh-huh. Good, yeah. And my undergrad students will have they have the little apps with the little like birds or whatever, and you feed the bird by drinking your water, taking your medication, whatever. So part of that is physical activity. So, we're not all going to be Jeffrey Rouser, and we're not all going to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning and go for a run. But
Plus,
some of us might. Say it again.
I usually collect the shrubs and limbs to the street.
Yeah.
Known as my physical activity.
Good, good. So we drink some water, eat a vegetable, Do some kind of physical activity. And then the fourth thing is mindfulness or meditation. I don't care. You can pray, you can yoga, you can burn incense. Do something to focus yourself in, right? So, yes. Now you say, what does all of this have to do with your philosophy of music education? Guys, if your philosophy of music education is that every student deserves, an opportunity, a chance to be musicians, and you're physically and mentally unwell, you're probably going to be on edge. You're probably going to get angry faster than you usually do, or sick faster than you usually do, and then you're not going to be able to give them that calm music education. You're going to get angry because all of us feel the weight of the next performance coming down on us. And all of us, we know that we should take the time to meet these educational goals. And we scheduled when we planned time to meet these educational goals. But when we get into class and the students need more of this than we planned for, then we feel that weight of the next concert coming. And it's easy to get frustrated with the students. And I hear all the time people blame the students for not practicing. And that might be true, but also there's some of that weight on you that you're not giving them the time and the motivation to practice because you're concentrating on the performance and you're frustrated. So when we do these things, we remember that we're musicians and we do whatever musicianship we can. And we remember that, we do need some level of professional learning and professional community. It's always nice to get together with your peers that are also music teachers and share ideas and struggles and get, some kind of solution. But then, drink your water, eat your vegetable, get some physical activity, do some mindfulness, some meditation, whatever it is that you need to do. And then you keep yourself in place, and then you can do all of those things. Philosophies of music education tends to be very esoteric and very lofty. So make sure that in your esoteric and lofty statements that you keep yourself well as a human being so that you can accomplish some of this. And then remember, guys, if I see that, whatever I see in your philosophy of music education is what I want to see in your classroom. So make sure that you're honest when you write your philosophy of music education. If I see in your philosophy of music education, all students should get a music education, then I expect to see all students in your classroom. I expect to see wheelchairs. I expect to see students representing different races, different religious backgrounds, different gender and sexual identities, whatever all students means. If I see them in the hallway walking to your classroom, I expect to see them in your classroom. And if you don't anticipate teaching all students, don't put it in your philosophy. This is your document. You make it what it is. Just like, as a human being, you get to choose your levels of musicianship and your levels of professional, like pedagogical development. Put it in there and do what you say you're going to do. All right, so this professional learning went a lot faster than I anticipated it going, but that's okay. So I'm going to let you go. And Solange, do you have any questions or any feedback?
Yesterday, I went for morning chorus rehearsal with fourth graders and fifth graders while Mrs. Senta was here.
Uh-huh.
I'm happy that I've got to lead the learners that are singing in part one, and Ms. Sento leads part two for
Good,
the
yeah.
learners that helps to focus on the reference pitch.
Good, yeah. And that's nice when you have a team and you can each focus on one thing.
Yes.
All right, well, thank you for coming and have a great Saturday.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.